The Northwood Community Pool was the heart of summer, a place where laughter and splashes filled the air and the scent of sunscreen mingled with the sweet aroma of melting popsicles. The sun beat down on the turquoise water, making it sparkle like 1,000 tiny diamonds. Families lounged on sun-warmed concrete, their laughter echoing off the water. Children darted through shimmering water, shrieking with delight as they played tag. Lifeguards, perched in their high white chairs, scanned the pool with practiced eyes, their red swimsuits bright against the blue sky. The lifeguards were trusted without question, their whistles and commands obeyed instantly. To the children, they were heroes, watchful, strong, and always in control. Parents relaxed, confident their kids were safe under vigilant eyes. Some closed their eyes, letting the warmth lull them into a gentle doze, while others watched with contented smiles, reassured by the ever-present guardians. The pool ran like clockwork, with lifeguards performing drills and checking equipment. Every routine was followed, every precaution taken, as if nothing could ever go wrong. No one doubted their motives. The job was seen as noble, a rite of passage for local teens. For some, it was a summer job. For others, it was a badge of honor, a chance to prove themselves. But beneath the surface, something was wrong. The water, so inviting from above, hid secrets in its depths. The trust in these guardians was about to be shattered. Whispers of unease flickered at the edges of the community's collective mind, but were quickly dismissed. One lifeguard watched, not with duty, but with a cold, calculating interest. His gaze lingered too long, his smile never quite reaching his eyes. The happy sounds of the pool masked a dark game. No one noticed the tension coiling beneath the surface, the way the air seemed to thicken as the afternoon wore on. The sanctuary was on the verge of revealing a chilling secret. The pool, once a symbol of safety, was about to become something else entirely. The illusion of safety was perfect, but it was only an illusion. No one could see the cracks forming, the darkness seeping in at the edges. The community's faith would soon be tested in unimaginable ways. The sense of security was fragile, balanced on the edge of something terrible. The sun-drenched pool was about to become the stage for a nightmare. The day's golden glow was fading, replaced by a creeping sense of dread. No one saw it coming. The danger was invisible, lurking just out of sight. The illusion was about to break, and when it did, nothing would ever be the same again. Evan was the model lifeguard, calm, punctual, respected. He sat high above the pool, the world below him a mosaic of color and movement. For 5 summers he was a fixture at Northwood, his authority unquestioned. The pool changed, the faces changed, but Evan remained, an unblinking sentinel. He rarely joked on duty, earning a reputation for professionalism. Some said he was too serious, but no one doubted his commitment. Younger lifeguards sought his advice. Parents trusted him implicitly. They saw a guardian, not the watcher he truly was. He knew the regulars, greeted them with a nod, and always seemed to notice trouble first. But his mind was always a step ahead, anticipating what others missed. But behind his steady gaze, Evan was studying the swimmers with a different intent. He watched for patterns, for the subtle signs of weakness or distraction. He analyzed weaknesses, cataloged risks, and saw not people, but variables. In his mind, every splash was a data point, every shout a potential outcome. To his colleagues, he was dedicated. To the community, a guardian. But Evan's thoughts were always elsewhere, calculating, detached. But Evan was leading a double life, his calm a mask for detachment. Sometimes he wondered if anyone could see through it, if anyone noticed the coldness behind his eyes. While others saw a pool full of people, Evan saw possibilities, outcomes he could influence. He imagined scenarios, rehearsed responses, and sometimes let his mind wander to darker what-ifs. His professionalism was a shield, hiding a chilling indifference. He told himself it was necessary, a way to stay sharp, to stay in control. No one suspected the truth. They never questioned the watcher, never wondered what he truly saw. The watcher on the tower was playing a secret game. The rules were his alone, and the stakes, unknown to all but him. And only he knew the rules. The game had only just begun. It started as a dark joke. Evan, bored during his shift, texting old friends between whistles and sunburns. "Bet you $5 the kid in the red trunks needs a rescue before lunch," Evan typed, smirking as he watched the pool. The bets were harmless at first, just a way to pass the time and break the monotony. But soon, the messages grew darker. What if someone really gets hurt? One friend texted, half joking, half afraid. Evan's replies were quick, almost eager. That's the thrill, isn't it? Predicting the chaos. His friends, distant from the chlorine and screams, played along. Some laughed, others hesitated. For Evan, the pool became a casino, the swimmers his data points, every splash a roll of the dice. He started keeping a coded notebook, tracking predictions and outcomes, each entry a secret thrill. The money didn't matter. For Evan, being right was the real prize, the rush of control. The game escalated. Bets on life and death, whispered over encrypted messages, became their new normal.
50 says this one doesn't make it, Evan whispered, eyes locked on a struggling swimmer, fingers poised over his phone.
Dude, that's messed up, one friend replied, voice shaky through the video call. You're not actually hoping for it, right?
But distance dulled their concern. The game continued. For Evan, the tension was intoxicating. Every second, every swimmer, a new bet to place. He was no longer just an observer. He was part of the outcome. Sometimes he hesitated, just a moment longer than he should, wondering if fate would prove him right. The line between vigilance and predation blurred, the air thick with unspoken danger. The pool's guardian had become its greatest threat. And no one, not even his friends, truly understood how far he'd go. The first incident was a near drowning, a 7-year-old boy rescued by Evan after a dangerous delay. The pool echoed with frantic shouts and the shrill blast of a whistle as parents rushed to the edge, hearts pounding in their chests. The boy survived, but questions lingered about the response time. Whispers spread among the parents, their relief quickly giving way to suspicion and fear. Weeks later, an elderly man suffered a fatal heart attack in the pool. The air was thick with grief as sirens wailed and the crowd looked on, helpless. Evan responded, but witnesses noticed a hesitation before he acted. That moment of doubt would haunt the staff for weeks. The community mourned, never suspecting foul play. Tears fell silently as neighbors gathered, united in sorrow. Then, a teenager known for risky breath-holding was found unconscious. Panic swept through the pool as his friends screamed for help. Evan rescued him, but the boy suffered severe brain damage. The weight of the tragedy pressed down on everyone, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. The timeline didn't add up. How could no one notice for so long? Doubt crept in, unsettling the once carefree atmosphere. The pool manager felt uneasy. Bad luck always seemed to strike on Evan's watch. Each new incident chipped away at his confidence. Each event on its own was explainable. Accidents happen after all, or so they told themselves. But a pattern was forming. Evan was always there, always just a little too late. The sense of unease grew with every incident. His reports were meticulous, his actions technically correct, yet something felt off, too perfect, too rehearsed. But the tragedies kept coming. The pool, once a place of laughter, now felt haunted by loss. To a few discerning eyes, coincidence was starting to look like something far more sinister. The staff's trust in Evan began to erode, replaced by a quiet dread. The pool's trust was quietly unraveling. And beneath the surface, fear was beginning to take hold. The county's risk management sent Maria Flores to investigate. She arrived with a reputation for spotting what others missed. Evan's reports were flawless, too flawless. Every incident followed the same script, the same language, the same sequence of events. Flores interviewed staff. Most praised Evan, but some mentioned his uncanny predictions. He always seemed to know when trouble was coming. One lifeguard said it felt like Evan was waiting for things to go wrong. Another recalled Evan suggesting drills right before real emergencies. Flores dug into response times, always just a bit too slow. She noticed Evan was often looking away seconds before each incident. The medical outcomes suggested longer submersions than reported. Victims' injuries didn't match the official timelines. Proving intent was nearly impossible. Distractions and accidents were plausible. But the inconsistencies kept piling up. But the pattern was there. Near-perfect rescues, perfectly timed failures. Each event fit a rhythm only Evan seemed to know. Flores needed more than a hunch. She began reconstructing every shift, every rescue, searching for the missing link. The truth was circling just out of reach. Evan's mask was cracking. The evidence was mounting, and Maria's instincts screamed that the pattern was no accident. The breakthrough came when Leo, one of Evan's betting friends, was arrested and confessed. He broke down in the interrogation room, voice trembling as he described the wagers, naming victims and showing detectives chilling texts from Evan. Elderly man in lane 4, looks tired. $50 he goes under in 10 minutes. The detectives' faces hardened as the messages matched incident timelines, each text a damning echo of tragedy. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage, synchronized with texts, showed Evan watching victims, pausing, then acting, always after a delay. The perfect rescues were revealed as calculated acts. Evan's calm was a mask for cold intent. When confronted, Evan's composure cracked. He denied everything, calling it a dark fantasy. But his voice wavered as detectives pressed harder. A fellow lifeguard burst into the room, eyes brimming with tears. "How could you?" she demanded, her voice echoing the community's heartbreak. Evan looked away, unable to meet her gaze. The community's trust was shattered. Parents wept outside the pool, clutching their children, while news of the scandal spread like wildfire. The lifeguard's game was exposed. The illusion of safety was gone, replaced by fear and anger. The pool's silent guardian had become its betrayer. The evidence was irrefutable. Justice was closing in. The truth could no longer be hidden. The watcher's game was over. In the aftermath, the pool stood silent, haunted by betrayal, as the community struggled to heal from the wounds left behind. News of Evan's arrest sent shockwaves through the community, leaving neighbors in disbelief and parents gripped by fear. The once bustling pool was shuttered, its silence echoing the weight of betrayal. For weeks, the pool stood as a grim monument to lost innocence. Children peered through the fence, their laughter replaced by uneasy whispers. Parents replayed every moment their children had been under Evan's watch, questioning what they missed. The city responded swiftly, overhauling lifeguard policies, enforcing stricter hiring, banning phones on duty, and mandating two-person scans. Emergency alarms were installed, and every lifeguard underwent retraining. The community demanded accountability, and the pool's management faced public scrutiny. Evan's trial was swift. His notebook and texts became damning evidence, sealing his fate. He showed no emotion as the verdict was read. Guilty on all counts. The verdict brought a measure of justice, but little comfort. Evan's family, once respected, now faced isolation and grief. The parents of the victims struggled with guilt and anger, their trust forever shaken. In time, the pool reopened. Laughter returned, but it was quieter, shadowed by memory. Families leaned on each other, some seeking counseling to heal. Lifeguards, once seen as heroes, now carried the burden of suspicion and the responsibility to restore faith. The story became a warning. Evil can hide in plain sight. The community learned to be vigilant, to question, and to demand transparency. Safety now depended on the integrity of those entrusted with it. Lifeguards pledged to uphold new standards, and parents watched with wary eyes. The scars of betrayal lingered, but hope slowly returned. The community moved forward, forever changed, always remembering to ask, who is really watching over us?